Severe Tropical Storm Opong, international name, Bualoi, carved a destructive path across Mindoro Island on Friday, unleashing torrential rains, powerful winds, and widespread flooding that paralyzed communities and forced thousands to flee their homes. The storm, which made its sixth landfall in Mansalay, Oriental Mindoro at 11:30 a.m., continued its west-northwestward march across the Mindoro Strait, threatening to re-intensify into a typhoon as it approached the West Philippine Sea. According to the Philippine Atmospheric, Geophysical and Astronomical Services Administration, PAGASA, Opong maintained maximum sustained winds of 110 kilometers per hour near its center, with gusts reaching up to 150 kilometers per hour. The storm's central pressure hovered around 985 hPa, and its forward speed fluctuated between 20 to 35 kilometers per hour as it traversed the island. Opong's trajectory was marked by 6 landfalls in less than 12 hours, beginning in Eastern Samar and culminating in Oriental Mindoro. After passing through Masbate and Romblon, the storm slammed into Mansalay before moving towards San Jose, Occidental Mindoro. PAGASA warned that Opong could regain typhoon strength within 12 hours due to favorable conditions over open waters. Tropical Cyclone Wind Signal, TCWS, number 3 was raised over Occidental and Oriental Mindoro, as well as the Calamian Islands, indicating storm force winds with moderate to significant threats to life and property. Signal number 2 covered Batangas, Marinduque, Romblon, Cavite, and parts of Palawan, while signal number 1 extended to Metro Manila, Quezon, Bicol, and Western Visayas. PAGASA issued a gale warning for the seaboards of Central and Southern Luzon and the western waters of the Visayas, with wave heights reaching up to 9 meters. Sea travel was deemed perilous, and all maritime operations in Mindoro were suspended. In Oriental Mindoro, local disaster officials reported mass evacuations across 7 municipalities, including Calapan City, Naujan, Bualoi, Roxas, San Teodoro, Puerto Galera, and Pinamalayan. As of noon, over 1,074 families, totaling 3,788 individuals, had been relocated to evacuation centers. The ports of Calapan and Roxas were scenes of disruption, with 510 passengers and 168 rolling cargoes stranded in Calapan and 197 cargoes and 5 passengers immobilized in Roxas. Streets in Sta Maria village were submerged, and fallen trees and toppled power lines blocked roads in San Jose, Occidental Mindoro. Governor Humerlito Bonds Dolor assured residents of the provincial government's readiness, citing the prepositioning of 21,632 family food packs in coordination with the Department of Social Welfare and Development, DSWD, which allocated over 111 million Cuban pesos in emergency funds for the Mimaropa region. Coastal communities faced a moderate to high risk of storm surge, with peak heights projected between 1 to 3 meters. Vulnerable areas included Bataan, Pampanga, Bulacan, Metro Manila, Calabarzon, and both Mindoro provinces. PAGASA warned that even regions outside the storm's direct path could experience hazardous rainfall and flooding due to the enhanced southwest monsoon. Local governments activated emergency protocols, with the Provincial Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Office, PDRRMO, leading coordination efforts. The Philippine Coast Guard assisted in repacking and distributing relief goods, while barangay officials conducted house-to-house advisories urging residents to evacuate. In Calapan City, Mayor Malu Murillo emphasized the importance of community cooperation. We are facing a dangerous storm, but our unity and preparedness will help us endure. Let's protect each other and follow safety protocols. Meanwhile, the Department of Education suspended classes in all levels across Mindoro, and power outages were reported in several barangays due to downed transmission lines. PAGASA forecasts Opong to exit the Philippine Area of Responsibility (PAR) by Saturday afternoon, September 27th. However, forecasters caution that the storm may re-intensify into a typhoon over the West Philippine Sea, potentially affecting maritime routes and coastal provinces in western Luzon. The agency also noted that the trough of Opong could bring scattered rains and thunderstorms to the rest of Luzon, including Metro Manila, even after the storm's departure. Typhoon Opong's swift and punishing passage through Mindoro underscores the vulnerability of island provinces to compound hazards: wind, rain, surge, and isolation. The storm's timing, coinciding with the southwest monsoon, amplified its hydrological impact, triggering flash floods and landslides in areas already saturated from previous rains. In San Jose, the surge arrived like a slow-moving wall. At around 12:45 p.m., seawater breached the coastal road near Barangay Kamanuit, pushing deep into residential zones. Fishermen scrambled to secure their boats, while families fled to higher ground carrying children, pets, and hastily packed belongings. The port of San Jose, a vital hub for inter-island trade and transport, was rendered inoperable. Cargo containers floated like driftwood, and the terminal's lower levels were submerged under nearly a meter of brackish water. The Coast Guard reported that 14 vessels were grounded or damaged, and over 200 passengers were stranded. Local officials activated emergency protocols, converting schools and churches into evacuation centers. Mayor Romulo Festin declared a state of calamity by late afternoon, citing widespread coastal flooding, infrastructure damage, and imminent health risks. "We've never seen the sea rise this fast," said Barangay Captain Lito Mendoza of PAGASA. "It wasn't just the waves, it was the pressure, the force. It felt like the ocean was reclaiming the land." On the eastern side of the island, Roxas faced its own watery siege. As Opong made landfall in nearby Mansalay, the storm's counterclockwise winds pushed water into Tabac River and coastal estuaries, triggering backflow and flash flooding. By 11 a.m., Roxas Boulevard was underwater. The public market, usually bustling with vendors and tricycles, became a lagoon of floating crates and overturned stalls. Residents of Barangay Bagambayan reported waist-deep water inside homes, with electrical outages compounding the crisis. Governor Humerlito Bons Dolor of Oriental Mindoro ordered the preemptive evacuation of low-lying barangays, deploying rescue teams equipped with rubber boats and life vests. The Provincial Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Office, PDRRMO, reported that 1,074 families, totaling 3,788 individuals, were relocated to safer areas. "We are prioritizing life over property," Dolor said in a press briefing. "The surge is unpredictable, and we cannot afford to wait until it's too late." Typhoon Opong's storm surge was amplified by several converging factors. Low central pressure, with a pressure of 985 hPa. Opong's I created a vacuum effect that lifted sea levels along its path. As the storm moved west-northwest, its southern quadrant pushed water toward Mindoro's coastlines. The southwest monsoon, intensified by Opong's circulation, added moisture and wind energy to the system. San Jose's shallow continental shelf and Roxas's estuarine geography made both towns highly susceptible to surge amplification. PAGASA's Oceanographic Division noted that tide levels were already elevated due to the lunar cycle, further compounding the surge's reach. Initial assessments indicate that over 45 million Cuban pesos worth of infrastructure was damaged in San Jose alone, including roads, seawalls, and port facilities. Roxas reported 28 million Cuban pesos in losses, primarily from flooded markets, damaged irrigation systems, and submerged barangay halls. Agricultural losses are expected to rise, with rice paddies and fish ponds inundated by saltwater. The Department of Agriculture dispatched rapid assessment teams to evaluate crop viability and recommend emergency interventions. Power outages affected 60% of households in both towns, and telecommunications were intermittent due to damaged cell towers. The National Grid Corporation of the Philippines, NGCP, deployed engineers to restore transmission lines, but full recovery may take days. Despite the chaos, stories of courage and solidarity emerged. In San Jose, a group of youth volunteers formed a human chain to rescue an elderly couple trapped in their flooded home. In Roxas, barangay health workers waded through knee-deep water to deliver medicines to diabetic evacuees. The disaster officials confirmed at least 14 landslide incidents across the provinces of Oriental and Occidental Mindoro, with the heaviest damage reported in the upland barangays of Roxas, Bongabong, San Jose, and Sablayan. According to the Philippine Atmospheric, Geophysical and Astronomical Services Administration, PAGASA, Opong dumped over 300 millimeters of rain in less than 24 hours, equivalent to a month's worth of precipitation. The storm's slow movement and wide rain bands intensified the deluge, saturating soil and destabilizing slopes. In Barangay San Vicente, Roxas, a landslide buried 3 homes under a cascade of mud and uprooted trees. Rescue teams from the Provincial Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Office, PDRRMO, worked through the night, digging with shovels and bare hands to reach survivors. One elderly woman was pulled from the debris with minor injuries. 2 others remain missing. "We heard a rumble like thunder, then the mountain came down," said resident Maricel de la Cruz. "It was dark, wet, and terrifying. We ran without knowing where to go." In Occidental Mindoro, the town of San Jose was temporarily cut off from northern municipalities after a landslide blocked the national highway near Barangay Labangan. Boulders the size of vehicles and thick mud rendered the road impassable, halting relief convoys and stranding hundreds of travelers. The Department of Public Works and Highways, DPWH, deployed heavy equipment to clear the debris, but progress was slow due to ongoing rain and unstable terrain. Power outages affected 70% of households in San Jose, and mobile signals were intermittent. Mayor Romulo Festin urged residents to remain in evacuation centers and avoid returning to high-risk zones. "The danger is not over. The soil is still moving. We must prioritize safety over property," he said. In Bongabong, Oriental Mindoro, a landslide near Barangay Ipil damaged a section of the irrigation canal, threatening rice fields downstream. Farmers expressed concern over crop loss and food security, as saltwater intrusion from storm surge compounded the damage. Sablayan, known for its hilly terrain and proximity to Mount Iglit-Baco National Park, reported multiple slope failures. Park rangers evacuated hikers and closed all trails indefinitely. Environmental groups warned of long-term ecological impacts, including habitat disruption and sedimentation in river systems. The National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council, NDRRMC, placed Mindoro under heightened alert, deploying geologists and engineers to assess slope stability and recommend relocation zones. Local governments coordinated with barangay officials to conduct house-to-house advisories and preemptive evacuations. In Pinamalayan, volunteers helped elderly residents relocate from landslide-prone hillsides to safer shelters. Meanwhile, floodwaters had submerged homes, markets, and roads in Calapan City, Roxas, Bongabong, San Jose, and Sablayan. Thousands were forced to evacuate, while others remained stranded on rooftops and elevated terrain, awaiting rescue. PAGASA issued red rainfall advisories for Oriental Mindoro, warning of serious flooding and landslides. Gale warnings were also raised for coastal waters, with wave heights reaching up to 9 meters. In Calapan City, the provincial capital of Oriental Mindoro, floodwaters rose rapidly by mid-morning. Barangays Sta Maria Village, Lalad, and San Vicente reported knee to waist-deep flooding, with drainage systems overwhelmed and backflow from the Calapan River compounding the crisis. Mayor Melu Murillo activated the city's emergency response protocol, converting schools and gyms into evacuation centers. We are facing a multi-hazard event: wind, rain, surge, and flooding. Our priority is to protect lives and ensure access to food, water, and shelter, she said. En Roxas, Oriental Mindoro, the Tabac River breached its banks by 11 a.m., inundating Barangays Bagumbayan, San Rafael, and Little Tanawan. Residents described the flood as sudden and forceful, with water levels rising by more than a meter in under an hour. In Bongabong, the Ipil River overflowed, flooding rice paddies and fish ponds. Farmers expressed concern over crop loss and food security, as saltwater intrusion from storm surge compounded the damage. In Occidental Mindoro, the towns of San Jose and Sablayan faced severe flooding and temporary isolation. In San Jose, Barangays Labangan and PAGASA were submerged, with floodwaters reaching chest level in some areas. The national highway was blocked by debris and landslides, halting relief convoys and stranding travelers. Sablayan, known for its proximity to Mount Iglit-Baco National Park, reported flash floods in upland barangays. Park rangers evacuated hikers and closed all trails indefinitely. Rescue teams used rubber boats to reach stranded families, navigating through strong currents and floating debris. Mayor Romulo Festin of San Jose declared a state of calamity, citing widespread flooding, infrastructure damage, and imminent health risks. He urged residents to remain in evacuation centers and avoid returning to flooded homes. The National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council, NDRRMC, placed Mindoro under heightened alert, coordinating with local governments and national agencies. In Pinamalayan, volunteers formed brigades to deliver food and water to stranded families. In Puerto Galera, fisherfolk secured boats and helped neighbors reinforce homes with sandbags and plywood. In Barangay Malapog, children helped carry relief goods uphill to stranded families. In Sablayan, farmers reinforced slopes with bamboo stakes and sandbags to prevent further erosion.
Betul.